The United States' move to tighten restrictions on China's semiconductor industry wasn't just a regulatory decision, it was a bold assertion of dominance. By cutting off access to advanced chip technology, Washington aimed to curb China's technological advancements, citing national security concerns over the potential military applications of these semiconductors. However, rather than halting progress, these measures set off a global race for chip supremacy, reshaping supply networks and intensifying competition in ways few had predicted. Semiconductors are the backbone of modern technology, powering everything from smartphones to artificial intelligence. By restricting China's ability to acquire sophisticated chip designs, the US sought to control the pace of its innovation. Yet the strategy had an unintended outcome. China responded by accelerating its push for self-sufficiency. Determined to reduce its reliance on foreign technology, the country directed immense resources toward domestic production, turning what was once a critical weakness into a launchpad for rapid progress. In 2021, China's semiconductor imports stood at an astonishing $432 billion, highlighting its dependence on external suppliers. By 2023, that number had dropped to around $230 billion, a sharp decline of nearly $200 billion. But this shift wasn't just about a reduction in trade, it marked a strategic transformation. China aggressively pursued self-reliance, pouring vast amounts of capital into research and chip fabrication, reinforcing its commitment to technological independence. Major semiconductor manufacturers within the country, including Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, expanded their operations and reduced their reliance on Western technology. Reports indicate a significant increase in China's ability to produce cutting-edge chips, further solidifying its drive toward independence. The consequences of this shift go beyond regional markets. Industries that once depended on American and European chip makers are now re-evaluating their supply chain. The central question is whether this transformation will redefine global competition or if it will lead to a fragmented world where nations operate within separate technological spheres. Many initially assumed US sanctions would cripple China's innovation capabilities, but reality proved otherwise. Huawei, once thought to be struggling after losing access to critical technology, made a surprising comeback in 2023 with the Mate 60 Pro. Powered by a domestically developed 7nm processor, the device stunned industry experts. Analysts who had once dismissed China's ambitions as overly optimistic had to reconsider their positions. Huawei's ability to construct next-generation networking equipment entirely from local components demonstrated that the country wasn't merely adapting to restrictions, but using them as a catalyst for greater self-reliance. Rather than acting as a barrier, trade restrictions have ignited a drive among Chinese firms to develop alternative technological solutions. Huawei's 5G infrastructure, now manufactured without foreign components, plays a crucial role in national projects, highlighting how China has turned limitations into advantages. Consumers in China are benefiting from increasingly affordable 5G devices, while international markets are witnessing heightened competition from a growing number of domestic semiconductor companies. A report published in late 2023 pointed out how China's progress in chip production has fueled advancements in artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous transportation. The long-standing belief that cutting-edge innovation was solely the domain of Western technology firms is now being challenged. Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation has achieved remarkable breakthroughs in the development of smaller, more efficient chips, positioning China as a major contender in the global industry. Meanwhile, in the US, the semiconductor sector is facing the impact of these shifts. Intel's third-quarter financial report for 2023 showed a significant decline in revenue, with sales to China dropping by 27% compared to the previous year. Texas Instruments, a key player in analog semiconductors, reported a revenue shortfall of $2.3 billion due to decreased demand from Chinese customers. The economic effects go beyond individual companies. Firms that once relied heavily on China for a substantial portion of their earnings are now feeling the pressure. For years, major US semiconductor companies derived up to 30% of their revenue from the Chinese market. As demand from China decreases, concerns are rising over whether these trade policies are leading to unintended consequences. While the initial goal was to slow China's technological ascent, the reality has been an accelerated push toward domestic production. In 2020, China accounted for about 15% of global semiconductor manufacturing. By 2023, that figure had nearly doubled to 30%, a dramatic shift driven by massive state investments and partnerships with other nations. More than 50 new semiconductor fabrication plants have been established in China within just 2 years, reshaping the competitive landscape for industry leaders such as Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and South Korea's Samsung. The increasing presence of domestically produced chips is already affecting global pricing, making advanced technology more accessible while compelling established players to reconsider their strategies. Even South Korea, long a dominant force in the semiconductor industry, is feeling the effects. Samsung and SK Hynix, historically dependent on exports to China, are now encountering growing challenges. As China narrows the technological gap, it is putting pressure on these companies in crucial areas. Samsung's semiconductor division reported a 12% revenue decline in the third quarter of 2023, while SK Hynix faced its most significant profit drop since 2017. These market shifts are forcing businesses to explore new tactics to maintain their competitive edge. China's expanding influence isn't limited to semiconductor manufacturing alone. Locally developed processors now support critical infrastructure, including cloud computing, telecommunications, and artificial intelligence. By 2023, over 60% of China's cloud computing industry was powered by homegrown technology, reducing reliance on foreign providers while enhancing national security. This transition has also led to lower costs for businesses and consumers, making advanced technology more accessible within domestic markets. Meanwhile, global supply chains are adjusting to the changing landscape. Some international firms are struggling with shortages and price fluctuations due to reduced imports from China. However, China's leading semiconductor manufacturers continue pushing forward with cutting-edge advancements. Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation has made significant progress in 7nm chip production, while developments in NAND flash memory technology have established new performance benchmarks. These achievements demonstrate that China isn't just catching up, it is actively redefining industry standards. This rapid evolution is placing pressure on traditional giants like Intel and Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, forcing them to reconsider their long-standing market strategies. The U.S., realizing the effects of its policies, has ramped up efforts to bolster domestic semiconductor production, strengthen alliances, and increase private sector investments. However, whether these countermeasures will be sufficient to maintain a technological edge remains uncertain. China, in contrast, has poured unprecedented amounts into research and development. In 2023 alone, government spending on semiconductor innovation exceeded $20 billion, fostering a survival-driven mentality that has led to rapid breakthroughs. With Chinese firms accounting for nearly 40% of global chip demand, the country holds substantial leverage over international suppliers. Businesses must now weigh the risks of complying with U.S. regulations at the cost of financial losses, or finding ways to sustain relationships with the world's largest semiconductor consumer. The rapid expansion of China's semiconductor industry is reshaping global trade and geopolitical strategies. By reducing its reliance on external sources, China has strengthened its position in international negotiations. Some analysts view this shift as a turning point that is fundamentally altering economic policies and trade relationships. However, challenges remain, including technological bottlenecks, competitive pressures, and regulatory changes that could create obstacles. The ongoing battle over semiconductors underscores the complexities of using technology as a geopolitical instrument. While the initial goal was to restrain China's progress, the reality has been an era of intensified competition. As industries continue adapting to these new realities, the crucial question is whether global collaboration can emerge from this divide, or if the rivalry will continue to escalate, shaping the future of technology and commerce in ways that are still unfolding.